The line. Picture this, a mirrored wall 500 meters high stretching 170 kilometers across the Saudi desert. That's taller than the Empire State Building and longer than the distance from New York to Philadelphia. This is the line. Saudi Arabia's plan to house 9 million people in what's basically a horizontal skyscraper. The marketing promised no cars, no pollution, temperatures controlled by artificial intelligence, and a perfect linear city. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman called it the future of urban living. The budget? A casual $500 billion, making it the most expensive construction project in human history. But reality hit hard. After years of construction and billions spent, they quietly scaled back from 170 kilometers to just 2.4 kilometers. Even that tiny version carries a $370 billion price tag. The problem? You can't just draw a line in the desert and call it a city. Cities need multiple connections, not endless corridors. What happens during emergencies when your only escape route is forward or backward? How do you create neighborhoods when everyone lives in the same structure? The line forgot that cities grow organically around human needs, not geometric concepts. When a project this ambitious gets reduced by 98% and still seems impossible, maybe it deserves a like for teaching us what not to do with urban planning. Forest City. Forest City in Malaysia promised to house 700,000 people on 4 artificial islands. Yet our Chinese developers spent $100 billion creating luxury condos surrounded by mangroves, marketing it as an eco-paradise with smart city technology and tax incentives for foreign buyers. The infrastructure is genuinely impressive. Wide boulevards, pristine parks, modern shopping centers, and gleaming residential towers that look like something from a utopian movie. Everything was built to international standards with environmental certifications and awards. The empty shopping centers still play cheerful background music to no one. Here's the problem. They built it for investors, not residents. When Malaysia restricted foreign property purchases and China's economy slowed, demand vanished overnight. Today you can walk through shopping malls with no shoppers, drive on 8-lane highways with no traffic, and explore perfectly maintained parks with no people. Forest City has all the bones of a major city, but none of the life. It proves that sustainable cities need sustainable populations, not just sustainable buildings. You can't create urban culture by constructing empty infrastructure and hoping people will eventually show up to fill it. Neom City. Not satisfied with the line's challenges, Saudi Arabia launched Neom, a mega-region 33 times larger than New York City. This project promised flying cars, robot dinosaurs, holographic teachers, an artificial moon, ski slopes in the desert, and underwater cities. The promotional videos looked like Marvel movies, because that's essentially what they were. When your urban planning presentation includes robots as citizens and ambitions to enhance human DNA, you might be confusing science fiction with city planning. Neom was supposed to attract international businesses with zero taxes and revolutionary technology. The reality involved displacing local tribes, environmental destruction, and construction costs that spiraled beyond any reasonable budget. Multiple CEOs resigned, timelines kept shifting, and the scope kept shrinking. Today, Neom exists mainly as expensive computer graphics and a few concrete foundations in the desert. It turns out the most futuristic cities are often just well-designed communities where people can actually afford to live and work. Masdar City, Abu Dhabi's Masdar City, was the original zero-carbon megaproject. Designed to house 50,000 residents and 40,000 commuters, it featured personal rapid transit pods, solar panels on every surface, and buildings designed to minimize desert heat. The architecture won awards for sustainability. The master plan impressed urban planners worldwide. The technology integration seemed revolutionary for 2008. Everything looked perfect on paper and in architectural renderings. But Masdar felt like living inside a research facility rather than a community. The personal transit pods constantly broke down. Residents joked that the future of transportation was walking to broken pod stations. The ultra-modern buildings created wind tunnels that made walking uncomfortable. The cost of living was so high that only researchers and tech executives could afford it. Masdar taught us that environmental credentials don't automatically create livable spaces. You can optimize every system for efficiency and still build a place where humans don't want to spend time. After 15 years and $22 billion, Masdar houses about 5,000 people instead of the planned 50,000. Songdo, South Korea built Songdo International Business District from scratch on 1,500 acres of reclaimed land. Every building connected to a central computer system. Waste traveled through pneumatic tubes. Rainwater was automatically recycled. The city monitored everything from air quality to traffic flow in real time. The technology was genuinely impressive. video conferencing systems in every building, centralized climate control for entire districts. Digital displays replacing traditional signage. The central control room monitored a city where most screens had more activity than the streets. Songdo represented the ultimate smart city vision for the early 2000s. The problem? Smart technology doesn't equal smart urbanism. Living in Songdo felt like residing inside a computer. Simple repairs required weeks of coordination between systems. The sterile environment prioritized efficiency over character. International businesses established offices there, but families found it cold and unwelcoming. The perfect Central Park looked beautiful, but felt artificial. After 20 years and $40 billion, Songdo remains only partially occupied, proving you can't program community spirit or automate neighborhood culture. Xiong'an Chinese President Xi Jinping declared Xiong'an would become a city of the future, rivaling Shenzhen and Shanghai. The plan involved relocating millions of Beijing residents to this new eco-city built around high-speed rail connections and green technology. The Chinese government invested heavily in infrastructure, universities, and government offices. State-owned enterprises were ordered to establish headquarters there. The master plan promised perfect urban design with extensive parks, walkable neighborhoods, and sustainable transportation. But here's the challenge with top-down city planning. People don't always follow government directives. Despite massive investment and political pressure, convincing residents to leave established Beijing for empty fields proved nearly impossible. Xiong'an tests whether authoritarian governments can create urban culture by decree. Can you mandate innovation and entrepreneurship? Early results suggest that even unlimited political power can't force cities to come alive. Urban vitality emerges from countless individual choices, not planning committees. Eko Atlantic Lagos built Eko Atlantic on reclaimed land to house 250,000 wealthy residents and become Africa's financial hub. The vision included Manhattan-style skyscrapers, luxury shopping centers, and protection from rising sea levels threatening existing Lagos neighborhoods. The engineering was ambitious. Developers pumped sand from the ocean floor to create 10 square kilometers of new land. Seawalls were designed to protect against coastal flooding. The master plan promised perfect infrastructure with reliable electricity and clean water. The irony became apparent quickly. Eko Atlantic's sea walls accelerated coastal erosion for surrounding communities while protecting wealthy developments. The expensive infrastructure served luxury housing while millions of existing Lagos residents lacked basic utilities. Eko Atlantic represents classic urban inequality, building elite enclaves while ignoring existing community needs. The project continues construction but remains largely empty, a glass and concrete reminder that sustainable development must include everyone, not just the wealthy. Telosa billionaire Mark Lohr announced plans for Telosa, a 5 million person city in the American Southwest. The concept featured 15-minute neighborhoods, renewable energy, and economic equality through shared land ownership. The renderings looked incredible: sustainable skyscrapers, perfect public transportation, green spaces everywhere, and affordable housing mixed with luxury developments. Lohr promised to invest $25 billion of his own money to get started, but the fundamentals made no sense. Building a massive city in water-scarce deserts during climate change, promising economic equality while requiring billionaire financing, planning for 5 million residents when most new planned cities in America struggle to attract even 5,000. Telosa represents the Silicon Valley approach to urbanism. Assume technology and capital can solve any problem, including problems that previous technology and capital created. Real cities grow gradually, adapting to local conditions and genuine community needs. Also, a huge thank you for all the wonderful comments you've left on the previous videos. Here are just a few of them. Leave a comment yourself for a chance to take your spot on the board. Which of these failed megacities surprised you the most? I'd be very grateful if you could like the video and subscribe to help the channel grow even more. See you in the next one.